Hi everybody, I'm Nate,
I'm Tiffy,
and we are the Hallquist family,
now the Hallquist 5.
and this is our story of how we became the Hallquist 5 through adoption.
Yeah, so just like the really quick nut and bolt thing, we'd always talked about having kids. Our original plan was to have one and adopt one. And biology wasn't having it.
We tried for about 3 or 4 years, and we never had an oops, we never had a maybe,
Nothing.
we never had any kind of, like we never had one and that got away, we never, nothing like that.
Nothing.
So we went and got tested with doctors and went to fertility clinics, and
I had a surgery to remove a fibroid that they thought would make a difference.
it actually made a difference, but maybe in a negative way because of the scar tissue. We've just looked at everything, and
We examined all the options, and it really had reached the point where it's like if we wanted to do it naturally, we'd most likely have to do medical science.
yeah,
And
we looked at
risks,
IUI, we looked at IVF, we looked at all that stuff.
and looking at the risks, looking at the costs, knowing that, and we're not saying don't do them. I mean, if you want to do it, absolutely. For us, it ended up being one of those things that looking at, okay, so IUI is like, $3,000 each time, and if it doesn't work and then it takes multiple times, you can be out that much money each time. IVF is
almost
almost
$30,000.
$30,000, and that's for just the first time. Each time after that's like another $3,000.
And IVF is, they say it's around a 90% chance of working, which is fantastic. If you can say that, yes, we're going to try this and we're going to spend this money and we have almost guaranteed to have a kid, that's fantastic. But the almost part is what bugged me and us, because if you're part of that 10% that doesn't get pregnant,
Then what?
then you just bought a car that you can't drive.
That's not
so
yours,
you're
yeah.
spending, you're paying $30,000 for a science experiment that didn't work.
Yeah. So we looked at adoption.
Which is a 100% kid.
Yeah, that's already formed that needs a home. And we looked at national, international. We have friends that have done both, and we have a friend that did both actually. Our thing with international was, again, it's super expensive. Not that should be. I mean, for some people that's not a problem.
There are a lot of rules.
There's a lot of rules, and each country or region has its own rules. Like some countries, you need to be married for 5 years. So even if you've been together like 13, 14, 15 years, but you've only been married a few, no. They might have income restrictions. They might have age restrictions.
They might want you to travel to the foreign country and spend weeks there.
If not a month or so.
Before you're allowed to bring your kid home.
Yeah, and all of these things. And plus, the other thing is that internationally, there's a high chance that they don't know anything about the parents. Anything.
One of the kids that our friends adopted, they found her behind a dumpster behind a restaurant. They say that she was probably 10 days old at the most. They basically estimated her birthday, and they know absolutely nothing about her family. Nothing at all.
And that's beautiful that our friends took her in. It's just for us, we were kind of like, okay, well, Whereas, so then we started wondering about nationally, but we were concerned because we're like, well, kids in the foster system, the system's broken, and the kids are horrible, and all these things that you hear. Well, our friend that had just herself last December adopted 2 kids through the foster system was like, you can actually, it's the same kind of thing as international in that you can say, this is what we want, this is what we'll take, all of that. So December of last year, our friend was nice enough to invite us to go to the airport to watch her get her kids. And she'd gone down and seen them once. And they got off the plane and were immediately, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. And that was it. Like, we were sold because we didn't know that you could have that connection that quick. So we signed up and we went through an organization called A Family for Every Child.
I think it's .org. So,
and we looked them up, and basically you say that you're interested, and an adoption worker contacts you. And this person comes to your house, they interview you, they ask you some questions in person, but then they give you a sheet of probably 100 questions that you each have to do. And some of them are, simple things like describe your childhood or something. And then some of them are like, what is your discipline plan? What is your plan? What is your guardianship plan? Because a lot of these kids are in the foster system. So they want to know if something happens to you, who is going to take these kids, because they want to know that they're not going to just go back into the system.
Yeah, and it is a lot of work. It's a lot of writing. It's a lot of thinking. A lot of these questions are designed to get you and your spouse or your partner talking about what the plan is, because
And really noting the magnitude of what you're taking on.
yeah, because it is a big deal, and they want to make sure that the kids are going to a good, well thought out home.
Yeah.
Not that you're going to get a kid that you want to treat as a pet,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, a month in, you're like, oh, we're not ready for this. We can't handle it. Like, they want to make sure that you are actually ready, or
Right.
at least that you think you're ready, and that you want to have a kid,
Right.
and that your house is ready, and that
Right. And they check, and that's the thing is, like, the adoption worker comes, they check your house. Like, you need to have smoke detectors. You need to have,
you have locks on
rooms.
the doors. You need to have
locks.
a working bathroom.
You need to have a fire plan.
Yeah.
All of this. So basically, whenever you get those questions and stuff done, then you can continue on with the process. You pay, for us, it was $1,500, and that includes all of that. Plus, you have to take through Department of Health and
paperwork, all the
Social Services.
legwork.
Yep, through DHS, you have to take foster parent classes, because even though you're adopting, you are, for the first few months, considered a foster parent. Some of the rules are a little different, but you have to go through the training. And it's important, too, because these are kids, like, for our friend, her kids have been in 8 different homes. So it's really important to understand that mentality of a kid that's been in 8 different homes, so that when that kid is hoarding food, you don't come and getting mad and yelling at them like, I told you there's food in the fridge and there's going to be ants. You understand they're probably doing this because if they've been moved 8 times, they might not know where their next food is. And if they have a special stuffed animal that you think looks horrible and you want to throw out, you might realize, well, that was actually their one and only item that ever moved with them. So even though I hate it, I'm going to keep it.
Well,
so it's really good. It teaches you an empathy that you have, but it's good to be taught.
And we heard stories about how some of the kids, even after they're in a place for a while or after they're adopted, keep what they call a go bag, which is something they're used to, where they will keep...
Especially teenagers.
They will keep a couple of outfits and some toiletries and things like that, things that are close to them, in a bag in case they have to leave quickly.
Right.
That's not something you can punish them for. That's something that you say,
right.
I understand that you want this. We will let you have it. You don't have to hide it.
We'll even help you get stuff for it.
We'll make sure that it's stocked up just so you feel safe.
Yeah.
But just so you know, you're never going to have to leave here again.
Yeah, and
so you can't punish them for things like that, because their past is so much different than what you think it should be.
Right, and so
you can't just force the change on them. Like, you have to help them grow through it.
Right, and so once you get done with all your trainings and you've answered all the questions, and they've come and inspected your house and said, yeah, people can live here, it's okay, then they take all that and they put together a profile. And it's kind of like a dating profile. It's like, here's your picture, here's all of the things that you like to do, and then it's this is the kind of kids that we think would work for us. If you want teenagers, you write about why you'd be great for teenagers. If you want babies, why'd you be great for babies? If you want kids of a different race, why? All of that. For us particularly, we wanted kids, the younger the better, and we wanted siblings. I'm an only child. Nate has a younger brother, but we wanted siblings because our attitude was kind of like, a lot of people can't take siblings. We have a fairly large home, and it was just us. We could do that. And I wanted to see what siblings were like growing up, since I didn't have that.
And on the website, long story short, you can choose all different things. Like it says, disabilities, if you can handle severe or moderate or can't handle anything at all.
Yep.
Like, we have a ton of stairs in our home. We couldn't have somebody in a wheelchair.
No.
Our house is too complex, and there are too many stairs to have someone who can't walk. So it's not that we wouldn't want that; it's that we can't.
Yeah, and so once they make your profile, you can change anything in the profile that you want. You can add more pictures, take things away, you can rewrite it, but then you can go on and you can search for kids. So if you want boys, age 10 to 14, and African American, you can search specifically for that. If you're open to whatever, then you can search for whatever.
And one of the things you do, sorry to compare this to a website, but it's almost like Amazon.com and a wish list. every kid that you see that you think you would match with, you submit for them.
Submit. It's like a job thing too. It's like you submit.
There's absolutely no guarantee. There's no lock-in.
You may never hear from any of them, and you may hear from every single one.
So, and even if you do hear from them, there's no guarantee you're going to get the kid. And when you find out more information, if there's a red flag that something comes up, you can go, okay, I'm sorry. I wish these kids the best, but we can't work up with this anymore. Like we changed our mind. Like,
and you
that sounds callous, but you have to be sure of what you're getting into.
Right, and caseworkers all around the country can search for you. So if they want like a couple with a male and female living in the Pacific Northwest, then they would search and like our profile would come up. So they can search for you, and they will also send you kids that they think you'd be a good match for. Now, some of those kids may be within what you're looking for, and some of them might not. Some may be ones that you read and you're like, oh, this is amazing. And others you're like, whoa, what are you thinking?
We saw both.
We saw both.
We had a caseworker contact us with a family of 7.
Yeah, and we were
seven children. Ages 15 down to I think 2 or something.
Yeah. And they were wonderful, but we were like, we can't do 7. Like, we can't do 7. Right. So with your adoption worker, you set like how many is the maximum you would take, maximum ages, all of this, and you work all that out, and then you submit. And for us, we got everything approved. So in December, we went to the airport and realized this is it for us. Like, this is the plan we want to have. We saw our friend.
June 1st is when we got everything approved and we got on the website.
Yeah, and we started just submitting. And there were some that we just fell in love with and we wanted them. We never heard anything. There were others we thought would be great. They contacted us. They gave us more info and we were like, oh, no. And all of this. And basically we kept submitting.
About August or September timeframe.
Yeah. Once you submit, and then the caseworker gets your info. If they are interested, they send you more information on those kids. You read through it. You get like pretty much the full history of the kids. You read through it. If you're still reading it and at the end you're like, yeah, these still, I feel like they could totally work with my home, then you can let the caseworker know. And then the caseworker, in some states, they just choose you and you become the parents. They have you come out and meet the kids. In other states, in Oregon, we had to go through a committee process where they chose us and there was one other family. They get a group of people like the caseworker and social workers and therapists together, and they hear about the different families and stuff. In around August, we got contacted, and it was on some kids that we'd submitted on. We'd honestly forgotten that we'd submitted on them. We got a profile sent, we read it, and we were both like, these kids sound amazing. Oh my God, they sound amazing. Then I said, well, I don't remember what they look like. So we looked them up and we looked at the picture. We were like, oh,
they're adorable kids.
These are our kids. And we wrote back right away and said, yes, 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 we want them. And they, October 25th, we went to committee. And to go to committee, we had to answer some more questions. We had to make a video. Some people do this slideshow. We actually sang a song in our video to the kids. And then we also make welcome books, which is like a little book that you put together for the kids. Once you're selected, their foster family reads the book with you. And so it's like, this is mommy, this is daddy, this is your house, these are your pets. All of that, and
it's kind of a preview of what they're getting into. Like you give them a chance to get to know you before they meet you.
Yeah, and October 25th, we got the call saying that we were parents of a sibling group of 3, a boy who is going to be 4 in January, one little girl that will be 2 on December 10th, and then one little girl that turned 1 on December 2nd, and then I think it was November 10th or 11th was when 9th was when we met them for the very first day. We went to the house and they immediately were mommy, daddy, and we took them out. We did a 2-week transition where we slowly spent more time with them every day. They spent the night. We brought them back, all of this.
And November 19th
November 19th, they moved in permanently, forever. And they're here. They have different caseworkers and our adoption worker and people that come out here to see them and make sure that they're okay. But for us, when it comes down to the cost, so we paid the $1,500 for the adoption worker. If we'd adopted kids in other states, she would have had to travel, and we would have paid her travel expenses. We would have had to have traveled to meet the kids, and so we would have had that. We lucked out our kids were in Oregon. But so you have that travel cost if you need it, that you have to pay extra. But then once you're matched, those kids move in, and they're covered by health insurance. The health insurance is fully covered, top of the line health insurance until they're 18. So you don't need to add them to your health insurance. And they have a program called WIC, W-I-C, which is Women, Infant, and Children, that the kids qualify up to 5 years old, and it gives you basically all of your milk, all of your dairy, all of your veggies, all of your breads, yogurt, everything for essentially free. There's guidelines of what you can get, but you can get that. And then you're also given a monthly stipend, which is based upon age and then based upon needs. So if you get a kid that's got a lot of medical needs or stuff, you get a little more. If you have a kid that's pretty typical, you get a little less. But you get that during the foster time, which is what we're in now, for about 6 months before after they come every month and go, yeah, the kids are fine, you're fine, great. Then we'll get finalized, and it's completely it. They get our last name, their birth certificates get changed to us, and all is final. But during that foster period time, your stipend is a little higher. Once you adopt, it's a little lower, but you still get it. So you get assistance. And then with the taxes, there's all kinds of tax breaks for adopting and for adopting nationally. So to us, it wasn't about the money, but it is in the sense of...
It does help.
If you adopt a kid and you're already forking out, thousands and thousands of dollars, and then you have a kid which already costs thousands and thousands of dollars, it makes it feel like you're never going to have your family. And for us, we have our family now. And these are our kids. Our friend that adopted, she said that once when you see your kids on there, you'll know. And we kind of thought, yeah. And then when we read about these kids and we saw them, we knew, like, these were our kids. We started referring to the rooms by their names, everything. And now they're here, and it's crazy, and we're exhausted, and we're excited, and it's the best thing ever.
And it's fun. It's
fun, and these are our babies, and so if you're curious or anything, you can check out the website that we use, which is A Family for Every Child. There are lots of other agencies out there. There's also lots of church groups and stuff that you can look through that will match you up actually with pregnant women that are not able to keep their kids.
You can look us up also.
You can look us up.
We're on Facebook. I'm not shy. My name is Nate, Nate, Hallquist, Hallquist.
Yeah, and I'm Tiffy, Tiffy, Hallquist, Tiffy Hallquist.
Just IM us, ask us any questions. We'll be glad to answer.
We will help in any way, because this has now become near and dear to our hearts. So if you're thinking of adopting, if you're thinking of having a family, don't rule out national. It's amazing.
The foster system may not be perfect, but these kids need homes, and the kids are great.
And you get their medical history. You get everything about them.
Yeah.
And it's much easier, if something's up with your kid, to call another state than it is another country. So, don't rule it out. And if you have any questions, let us know.
All right.
Awesome.
Take care.
Happy family.
Yeah, happy holidays, and good luck with everything.
Bye.
Bye.